song you have now?
Oh, temper tantrum.
What other kind of tantrums do you have? Anyway, yes. So, who stole my butter? Who drank my milk? And where can my fruit be found? I bow to the cowherd child who shouts these words as he rolls on the ground. And the Sanskrit is even more fun. Let's come on. Brenda, see if you can read that. Neetam.
Neetam nava nava neetam kena cha neetam svaya va me murali iti samudriya bhumau valam subalam namini gopalam.
Not bad. Yeah, bad. All right, I'm going to put the little hurdy-gurdy on me. Okay, here's how it goes. Neetam nama nama neetam kena tapitam payakame mulali iti samudri lutam tam bhumau balam namami gopalam. Who stole my butter, who drank my milk, and where can my fruit be found? I bow to the cowherd child who shouts these words as he rolls on the ground. That could be any of you, actually. Anyway, that's just the introduction. Now, I'm not sure what we should do. You see all the Sanskrit there? There's 5 verses to the Rupa Goswami's Tribhanga Chandastava. And this is a pretty amazing poem. I once did this in Mayapur, believe it or not, on a stage before all of the devotees, and they were gathering for the Gorkanim festival. And I didn't plan to do it, but they asked me to do it, so I just was busy writing it, and I finished it and we did it. It was a lot of fun. But it's just a lot of meditation on little things about Krishna. It doesn't follow a plot or anything, but it's all based on Krishna's pastimes. And it's very delightful. And here's how the meter goes. I don't think you can all read it. Maybe Binda could do it. I'm not sure. Yamalajana bandana mashtarandanam mahigandana ganalasa badam padapadandanam abhasatakandanam atisundanam abhavindakaram Vradigo babadujana vidachitapujanam adapujanam avenadanam smadanam abhajakshadam akadabhadakshana tanalakshanam ahidakshadam. You think you can memorize that? Gotta admit, it has a beat. All right, so what I'd like to do is, before we do these, we'll do one at a time. There's 5 of them. I just want to run through and see if there's any words that might be too difficult for you. You know what the prance is, right? When Krishna chastised Kaliya, he had a prancing dance. You know the pastime? Some of you may not know. Yeah. So he chastised the serpent by dancing his hoods. Let's see, liking soul. Now the word, see the 3rd verse there? It says most debonair. You see what debonair? Look at, I don't know if you know what debonair is. Debonair means very graceful and attractive. Debonair, he dresses very nicely and everything like that. So that's Krishna. Okay, these astounding things. Now, when we come across the word devotee, you familiar with that word, devotee? Well, that's actually not the right pronunciation of it. I mean, that's not the orthodox. Probably you pronounce it devotee. It makes a lot of sense. Devotion, devotee, devotee. But the way it's pronounced in English is actually devotee. And I use, devotee. And that you'll find, if that comes up, somehow it always fits better in the poem, so that's what I use it. That's what it. All right, so I think we should try it. And I think in between each verse, actually between each 2 lines, you'll see we'll just change the name Krishna. So. You ready? Ready? You broke the 2 Yamalajan trees, you loved the light, your pure devotees, Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. You crushed the pride of the Kali snake. You prancing dance in the Yamalali. Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. You're the coward's prince and the life and soul. To serve you with love is their only goal. Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. In the caves you meet the gopis fair, and your sweet loving pastimes there. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. You're dashing, clever, and most debonair. Your lotus hand gives blessings rare. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. To worship you again and again is the way the wise as the coward. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Gopis hear the flute you hold, their passion grows 1,000-fold. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. In your transcendental form we find astounding traits of every kind. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Of amorous joking you're the king. Indeed you're still that everything. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everyone. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, number 2. You're a host of invincible thunderbolts to protect your dear surrendered souls. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Your silken clothes glow yellow gold. Your blackish form is stunning to behold. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. For the elephants of your enemies, you're a lion they fear more and more. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Your face defeats the full moon. When the gopis gaze at it, they all swoon. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Oh, protector of the cows, you're skilled at mimicking the birds' sweet calls and trills. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. You're full of joy and most sincere. At soothing hearts you have no fear. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. With colorful mineral pigments fine, you adorn your rings with designs sublime. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. You're the Lord sunrise, you're the nourishing sun. By you mad in the day was outdone. Krishna. Oh, on your fingers and toes. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Okay, listen to Sanskrit. Don't try to chant it. Listen. Om Abadati Naga Shanta Saga, Naga Salachil, the Tamu, the Sam Coach and the Mamu, the Lochu, Agamoch and the Mama Ram in the Tamu. The Galaric gold of a foot of the soul, and the gold of a pushing piece of the little of the brother of the mums and the brother of the duel of the single lives of the Tamu. So one way. From the creepers of your eyebrows you shoot Cupid's arrows straight and true. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. When struck by your dancing sidelong glance, she Radha enters a blissful trance. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Oh merciful Lord, with lotus petal eyes you weaken the sinful, strengthen the wise. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. The demons all bow down to you. When you killed the gossip, when you blessed him too. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Of those who are worshipped, you're the best. Like Kumkum adorns your limbs and chest. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Your love for the love-filled gopis fair as the flood of nectar beyond compare. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. When touched by your delicate lotus feet, the land of grudge feels joy complete. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. compare with your playful, graceful gait. I Radha's walk is second rate. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Okay, here comes the Sanskrit. Nambujam Bhudnibha Shankatam Adhikata Shankatam Nakam Katam Matavishatam Navani Kalam Tadavanadolam Basamabalam Vidikalam Katam Durjana Sana Pavakam Manasana Shavakam Nadam Kamamalochadam Siddhikam Kudugar Kandar Kandar Mukul is going to get me down. One day. When threats to your devotees suddenly appear, your powerful shoulders crush the fear. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. As you walk the path among the forest trees with your friends, you enjoy many ecstasies. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. You wander among the kadamba blooms like a honeybee drunk on the heady perfumes. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. The coos of the cuckoos never can defeat the mellifluous sound of your voice so sweet. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. For the weeds of the demons grow so rash to the forest fire, they burn to ash. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. For every cow and cowherd boy is a guardian friend and fount of joy. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Flung far little lips with the rubies glow, your gentle smiles and laughter flow. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. The demoniac monsters proud of their might you crush with ease when the fools there fight. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Shruti Ratna Bhushana Bhuchita Bhushana Mali Bhushana Nayanata Katina Manata Talpa Pushpa Manalpa Manajalpa Dayatata Rati Vande Nahi Vandita Nanda Mandita Kulamandita Kalakam Samati Pami Damodara Haladara Sodara Haladara Mandara. Your gem-studded earrings conquer the sun, your noble deeds are never outdone. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. The beast quick dances floating in the mind by the glances cast on the corners of your eyes. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. On the Yamuna shore you recline on a bed of forest flowers finely spread. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Shri Radha's wordly, clever and bold, you like so more than can ever be told. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. I bow to you who yourself bow down to none but the kingdom of cow and sound. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. In an eminent family you took your birth, you killed King Kamsa, scourge of the earth. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Oh Lord, please let me always please those dear to you, your pure devotees. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Oh Krishna, the one whom I entreat, eternal love for your Lord is deep. Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare wouldn't this be awesome if we could get a certain set of you, maybe the older devotees, who can do it on Jamastami? You know, so what do you think? If you could get the Sanskrit down, that would be awesome. People would just fall down. There's not these kids, Yamalad and the Bandana Master, especially if we were doing it all together as a group. You can imagine. Anyway, you work on that, you can train them. Now there's a few more on here. Some of them are fun here. One of them is pretty serious. This one on page 5, it says 3:15:49. This is a prayer by the 4 Kumaras. You know the story when they went to the Vaikuntha and they couldn't get in? Remember that? And then the Jai and Vijay, they stopped them, right? At the 7th gate to go in. And so they weren't devotees yet, the Kumaras. They were Brahmavadis. They were into the Brahman. And so they became very angry and they cursed Jai and Vijay to come down to the material world. It turned out, you know, I think they got a choice in 7 births for devotees or 3 as demons. We'll get back quicker with demons. We'll see how it goes. So there was all this commotion at the gate, and Narayan comes. You know, he comes walking there, and the 4 Kumaras, they smell the fragrance of the tulsi manjaris on his lotus feet, mixed with his natural lotus foot, fragrance, and they immediately become devotees. That's when they turned into the greatest, and they felt so sorry. They thought, oh my God, we cursed these great devotees, Jai and Vijay, will be going to hell. And that's what this verse is. And I put it into English. So I'll just read this one. You can read along silently or a birth in hell are my sins. Yet please, O Lord, bestow this blessing rare, that all my folk ease, drunk in the torrent of fragrance swirling round your lovely pair of lotus feet, may relish deep remembrance of your sweet pastimes, name and form so fair. That all my words, like Tulsi's leaves so tender, may glory in being offered unto you, and that my ears may ever find fulfillment in hearing of your traits and deeds. So that's one. And the next one, this has the easiest meter. You know, in Sanskrit there's various meters, like a difficult meter, Yamalad and the Bandana Mantra. This is the easiest meter that they can possibly be. Every syllable is long. This is written by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So let's see, those who can read the transliteration, they can read it very easy. Barhapidam maula bimbran vanshi nadanatam nana kalpashi sampanno gopasri visambhita netranandam gurvan krishna tvam che asman vikshekha sarve kama sampadyeran asmakam vidyasina. The only verse I've ever seen like that. Sarvabhauma is a great Sanskrit scholar. So now here what it means, and I put it into the same meter in English. Peacock plumes bedeck your crown, and chanting songs with flute you sing, wearing lovely ornaments while standing in the gopis' ring. Dear most Krishna, eyes delight if you would kindly glance our way. All our heart's desires be fulfilled on this most blessed day. That's an easy one to remember. And this next one is a very wonderful little prayer, and it glorifying Krishna. Oh. This is from Punjabi. So the Sanskrit is really sweet too. Aho bir nakadeva viduyate, bottom of page 5. Sudha sudhara morodam pade pade, dine dine chandana chandra shitalam, yasho yashodadana yasagiyate. And this is, I always think of Prabhupada when I read this, because he was always glorifying Krishna. You know, he would wake up in the middle of the night and dictate his books. He'd glorifying Krishna. And then eventually, you know, he would meet the devotees in the morning and give class. He was glorifying Krishna. And he would meet some guests or something, and he would keep glorifying Krishna. And then he would go out and, you know, go to some programs or something. He's glorifying Krishna. So the Prabhupada fits this verse perfectly. And we can also be like that if we always glorify Krishna. Okay, read it with me. We'll read it slow. Because at every step they drink a flood of wondrous nectar sweet, whose cooling power sandal placed in hands with camphor, they
as if the raging blaze of Kali's days had ne'er begun. How blessed are they who fill their days with praise of Shri Yashoda's son.
That's what we should aim for. So we can fill our days with praise. Now the next one, oh God, I can't believe it. I forgot the message again.
Oh, I can.
Can you go get it? See if you can find it. You know where I live? Here's the key.
Where did it get?
Well, it's on the, if you walk in, then you walk into the little kitchen alcove, and on the left is this big table. And on that table you find the flute.
On the kitchen.
In the kitchen. In the kitchen.
Kitchen is on the right or straight?
No, you just walk in and then you just go straight.
Straight.
Yeah.
One.
Alright, so while we wait for that. So those of you who are expert at reading these transliteration right off the bat, see if you can stay with this one. Jagadudhana madhuri dhurinam aduna mandaruvinda radurapa mamadarsha padan budantakatvan murali nada sudhaduna dhanita. This is Rupa Goswami's Leela Chanda. Now, Leela Chanda is a summary of Krishna's Vrindavan Leela. And I'm hoping that before I leave this body, I can put all of that into nice little poetry so that anyone can read that. There's little summaries. Like it starts out, there's 3 verses that glorify Krishna's pastime at the beginning, which I did put in the poem, but I don't have it memorized. But then, like the little pastime of kicking over the cart, you know, kicking over the what is it, Shakatasura. So it's Autan Nikamahasam, Kutitam, Shakadata, Nanashayana, Kuchadasa Trishna, Vidijatarodana, Chanchala Pakuta Shakatavinoda. Chanchala means he's moving his feet, and Shakatavinoda destroyed the Shakata like that. So it goes through that, and it's very beautiful. So this is one verse in there describing the flute sound. Jagadudhanamadu Dudina Madodamanda Daminda Dadurapa, page 6 now. Mama Tarsha Badan Budanta Katwan Muladi Nadasudaduna Benitam. Okay, let's see if we can read this together. Your flute sends forth a flood of nectar sound, a river where the sweetest sweetness lies. Indeed, no better beverage can be found. Yet even she can't drink it, though she tries. O Krishna, kindly hear this desperate plea. From one now deep in misery averse, please let my ears dream that melody, so that my heart may slake its burning thirst. You slake means to, you know, it's like a taste of drinking. All right, I think that, and then the last one is one of my favorites on the bottom of page 6. This is from Kunti's prayers. Now, Prabhupada loved those prayers. If you want to memorize some Sanskrit prayers, you start with those Kunti prayers. He actually recorded them all, not the English, but the Sanskrit. So this is a very simple prayer for those who want to be fully Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead. Don't we want to go back to Godhead for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge? I think you do, although you may not all know that. Quite a difference in ages in this class. All right, so this is a simple meter like Bhagavad Gita. I'll say, you say. Tvaime nandivishaya. Bottom of page 6, last page. Tvaime nandivishaya mati madhupase sakrit ratamul bhataradha gange mogamadandati. So the Madhu's dynasty, I think, is another name for the Yadu dynasty. So Krishna is the Madhu's lord. That's what that means. Or you can say Madhava. We'll use Madhava instead. O Madhava, please ever fill my mind with thoughts of thee, not any other kind. As Ganges torrent flows into the sea, that all my love flow constantly to thee. So this is a prayer that anyone can offer to Radhir Hari. And who knows? Maybe you'll always be able to think of it. Okay, any questions or comments? Do you think this was a good idea? I have these poems. I have more. I think your father has all of the full. Yeah. So what should we do now? Should we review some of the other ones? Or should we see if we can make up a poem? That would be hard. Or we could just try some of the ones I know by heart. You can repeat. Sweet, sweet is my dear Lord's form.
Sweet is my dear Lord's form.
Sweet is still his face so fair.
Sweet is still his face so
Very
fair.
good. but his honey-scented gentle smile.
But his honey-scented gentle smile.
Radha Krishna is sweet beyond compare.
Sweet beyond comparing.
That's one of the first ones I ever wrote. Let's see, it's one of the other ones. Oh yeah, well, it's a little warm in here. So I have a few, I don't know what to call them. These are little things that you can put on a t-shirt, you know? If you, and I'll share those with you. So this is one that Radhanath Swami liked. I gave a class in Dravida once. And he was in the audience, and after I said this, after the class, he came up and said, "Can I get that?" I don't know if he ever did use it in his class, but here's the one he liked. It says, "Since pleasure is a dream, Krishna is supreme. The aim is praying, and the way is the name." The t-shirt.
Wow.
And then there's another one. I don't know if it can be a t-shirt or not, but it says, yeah. Oh yes. Every body dies. Every single body dies in that way. So actually, the word E-V-R-E-Y-B-O-D-Y is not pronounced everybody. It's pronounced everybody. Yeah, if you hear everybody, right? That's what he said. So this everybody dies. Nobody dies. Wake up and open your eyes. You're not that body, you're a pure spirit soul. Chant the holy name and attain life's goal. What do you think? It's like basically, you know. Then there's another one. Well, this is actually a verse that was taught to me by Mahavishnu Maharaj, the elder. I don't know if you ever knew him. He spent a lot of time here.
I heard this story from you in a Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, you heard about it, yeah. He used to spend time here. I think it was before he took me out. I met him in Vrindavan once. I think we knew each other, but we were standing on the same line for prasad. And the fact that he was standing in line means that he wasn't a sannyasi yet. He was also a brahmachari. And so I asked him, "Would you like to hear a nice verse?" He said, "Oh, yes." And he pulls out a pad to take notes. No one ever did that before. And then he gave me a verse, and this is the verse he gave me. Dehisti mangsudu dideva matam tijasva. Jaya sutari jisatama matam vimuncha. Pushyani sham jagadidham chandapangatistam. Vairagya raga rasiko bhavabhakti nishtam. Oh, we have an older recruit. So it says, don't love the body. Okay, we'll learn that later. Don't love the body, just a bag of flesh and blood and bone. Give up your sense of ownership for wife and kids at home. Ownership. Give up your sense of ownership for wife and kids at home. At every moment, see that this world totters on destruction. Become detached and learn to love the Lord without obstruction. And the last line I always say, I couldn't really do it justice in the poem. Vairagya raga. Become attached to detachment. You see? Become attached. In other words, become attached to becoming detached from this world and attached to Krishna. So the only way to do that is to become a rasika. That's the rest of the line. Vairagya raga rasiko bhavabhakti nishnam. So be fixed in bhakti, and rasika means someone who can taste the Krishna consciousness very sweetly at every moment. The glorification, the service, and everything. That's a rasika. And that's a high level of purity. But that means that you're not going to be coming back again because you don't have any attachment for enjoying this world separate from Krishna. So it's a very nice verse. He said it from the Padma Purana, which I think I've heard before, that if you don't know exactly where a verse comes from, you say it comes from the Padma Purana because it's so vast that, you know. So then there's the one at the beginning here, which I'll give you, I know by heart, which is a lot of fun. And this is what, just imagine that this is Krishna about this age, right here, this poor lady. And you're going to play Krishna now. All right,
Krishna ke Deva.
Krishna. Haribol. Okay, so now imagine that this boy is Krishna and he's saying this. Nitam navanam nitam kainata pistam paya kwame muladi. It is samadhi the tantam bhuma balam namanago balam. who stole my butter, who drank my milk, and where can my flute be found? I bow to the cowherd child who shouts his swirls as he rolls on the ground. All right, so now it's time for, this is for vocation, basically. 'Cause
We all.
every time he gives class, he asks me to bring the flute.
Yes.
And somehow, even though it's, you know, in the string day, killing around the country pool, and I wrote it, it's not really appropriate, I think, to have the flute. He said, well, I'll work it in somehow. I forget how he did it. You ready? Okay. Now we'll be able to do this. When I was in Kunda's days, that's when my, well, actually a little younger, your age. What's your name again? Vade?
Wait.
Vade. Yes, you look like you're full of knowledge. Like he's an ancient sage. So my father taught me to play the little recorder. This is a little flute that's played like this, you know. And before long, I was really playing. We had Mozart wrote music for that. You know, this is a Renaissance instrument. So I was playing, you know, and I found others who played. We had little concerts and everything. And then when I got into third grade, because I already knew how to read music and everything, and so they wanted to train us up to be part of the band when you get to high school. Because my high school band was like famous in New York State.
Wow.
So they had three instruments. We were poor. We couldn't go to buy something. So they had three instruments you could play. One is the violin, the other is the trumpet, and the other is the clarinet. So the violin, I don't know why, I thought it was like a sissy instrument. You know, that wasn't for me. And the trumpet was too hard to blow. Come on, third grade kid. But the clarinet was like the recorder, so I learned that. I played that all through high school and everything. I got part of the marching band. We went to New York for the New York Giants game, you know, playing on this, which wasn't my favorite thing to do. But gradually, then after I graduated, and then I decided to play the transverse, the Western, the silver one. I still have one, you know, like that. And then when I I lived in New York, on Lower East Side, 2 blocks from Tompkins Square Bar. Unfortunately, it was two years after Prabhu started the movement. I saw the devotee there, but there was a store on First Avenue that sold Indian instruments, because that time India, you know, with all the yoga and George Harrison, so people would get as popular. They had tablas there, I remember, and flutes, you know, bamboo flutes. So that's where I first got the bamboo flute. This is not actually bamboo, it's wood. I got it in Vrindavan. It's much more sturdy. You know. And then I started playing that on the street, looking for drummers, you know, so I could jam with them. Well, I wasn't spiritual at all. It was all like jazz and everything. And sometimes I would hear in the distance, because I'm on the Lower East Side, chink, 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 and I hear the madanga, several flutes when I joined. And there was a troupe playing. You know, there was actors. It was famous, like Kunta players. And I joined them, not as an actor, but I would play. They would put me near the stage so no one could see me. Whatever was going on the stage, I would try to play music that was appropriate for the sound. That was my function. Anyway, I played for many years. Now I only play when Kesher asks me, gives class. And then I
So one more round, one more tune, different tune.
that's the problem. I don't know if I can do it at the tune. That's basically my tune. Krishna's flute plays a very prominent part in his pastimes. And this is one verse that I picked out, Jagadam Madhavi Dalina. But there's a whole chapter called the Venu Gita, and there's some very, very wonderful verses in that. There's one of the Gopi songs, and one of them they're saying the first song they sing is that, and they're singing, but you know Krishna and Balaram are walking into the forest. They walked in, and they're afraid to just sing about Krishna because their parents they suspect something's going on. So the first couple of verses are about Krishna and Balaram. You see, Akshan Batam Balamidam Naparam Vidama Satyam Pashuna Navadesha Yadovayasya Vaktram Vajesha Sadeho Hanupena Jishnam Yava Napita Mamabhakta Kapasha Moksham. So they're saying, for those who have eyes, there is no greater object of vision to see the beautiful moon-like faces of Balaram and Krishna as they enter into the forest with their friends, playing their flutes and beautifying the forest way with their footprints like that. And it goes on like that. And so it's a very wonderful. In fact, it was my favorite chapter of the Krishna book. When I started memorizing it, and I remember I was serving out prasadam and I was just reciting this chapter, and everyone was saying, "What's this?" You know, he's not asking if they want more pakoras. And then when I worked as an editor, we went over the whole Krishna book, and we have, unlike any other book, we have almost all the tapes, which is very rare, but Prabhupada's original dictation, because this artist Jadharani, she's very famous. She painted some of the paintings we have, and she was the first artist. And she was working in Boston, and they would send the tapes there. The books were being produced in Boston at that time. And you'd have to transcribe the tapes. And so she immediately asked, well, please make a regular cassette tape out of it. Many of you don't even know that this is all cassette tapes. And she would copy it and listen to that in the picture. So therefore we had those two. So anyway, when I worked as an editor, I found that at the beginning of this chapter, there's a whole little section missing, describing how the rainy season was over and autumn season has now begun, and everything is very verdant, and all these things. I said, how did that get left out, And so I put that back in, so I restored that. So, any questions or comments? Does anyone have any requests? What should we do? Should we have a big kirtan, rip-roaring kirtan? We can dance?
Yes, Prabhu, yes.
You want to have a kirtan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We love your kirtan.
We need a
Prabhu.
drum for him.
Yeah.
Drum is there. Mukunda,
No, Mukunda, you can just say it. We have
you
some.
can, that
We
have
have
it.
it. That doesn't sound.
Okay, then bring the big one.
No, he's not going.
Okay,
You can just stay here.
Blue one, get the blue one.
Blue one?
Okay.
Yeah, she's
You
afraid if
can
he leaves,
just
he'll
stay
never
here.
come back.
Yeah. You can just stay here.
He's already in.
Maybe everybody can just stand up. Stand up, Prabhu.
Yeah, well, stand up, sure.
Stand up, Mukunda. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't think they have so many stand-up kirtans in here, right? Everyone sits, come here, and all these things are all over the place.
We can do the stand-up kirtan.
Oh, yes, that was what you're trying to
Yeah.
do.
Yes. So maybe we can remove all these cushions.
Yeah, with the cushions we can.
Get up.
Yeah, I need a cushion.
No.
I can stand.
Nobody need cushion.
You don't need it.
Okay.
So I stand as one?
Yeah.
I can stand.
Oh, you can sit anyway.
You can sit up, yeah, that's.
Oh, okay. So I already put one inside.
One day you'll be able to.
Just collect all the folders and keep it here.
Right, Sundar?
Arya, collect all the folders and keep it here.
You can stand and play the guapi. But you can't stand and play the guapi. I don't blame you, I can't stand and play those things, they're so heavy. Yeah, good, you got that.
Whether they want to do harmonium?
नहीं what we say kartal. Prabhu, you want kartal or
Should I
something?
get kartal?
Just cartels. Now give me up here.
Here we have.
Shriya.
Okay, everybody, we are going to do kirtan. Stand.
Just
Arya. Yeah.
All right, you
Hands
ready?
to eyes. Go.
It's
And
like
stand up. Isha and Maria.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's alive. Haribo! Welcome, Mother Teresa.
Oh, yeah. 1966? 67.
Mother, would you like to speak some words to Mother Teresa, please? No, can you introduce her quickly? Like, just give a quick introduction about her.
Mother Kanchi Baba.
Please, everyone, sit down. Sit down. Listen, quiet. Suddenly you are exciting.
Yeah, she has a book out actually, which helps to explain it. You know. Yeah, she wrote a book actually and goes to her husband and writings and everything. So she was just a young girl, you were less than 18?
You can't sit.
Under
I just turned 16.
Listen about Mataji.
16. She was
Story about Mataji. 16 years old.
16-year-old.
Not much younger than you guys.
Yes.
And she met the devotees. How did you meet the devotees?
I met them when I was in New York, and the first thing I heard was Srila Prabhupada chanting on the Happening album.
Oh, okay. The first album.
Yeah, and it just captivated me. I
Obviously from a previous life.
so amazing. I mean, I was searching,
Yeah,
spiritually
yeah, we were.
until everything was empty,
Yeah.
and then, but to hear Srila Prabhupada chanting, and we found out.
Come on, Kanchi Baba, you tell the story.
My
I
God,
don't know what it
please,
is. Just tell
Maybe
me.
turn the faces
Right?
towards Mataji. Everybody just turn face.
This is
So she's coming. She's
Okay,
coming.
she's coming,
Yes,
okay,
she's
okay.
coming. Okay.
Yes, you could
Push
sit
her,
down.
push her.
Here, sit up.
You can sit here.
This is very soft, right here. This is such a rare thing. She's such a valuable member of the community. She
Yes.
takes us all the way back to the early days.
And it was so amazing. It was very small at that time, but I've been hearing about detailed account of Srila Prabhupada, how he came to the U.S. and it was so. He was having so many obstacles, but he just was pushing on, with the movement and, developing Krishna consciousness in the West out of his compassion, for all the living entities. So, anyway, so he started out first on 72nd Street and the ashram in upstate New York, and so eventually, with the turn of events, Srila Prabhupada finally landed on 26th 2nd Avenue in the Bowery, and it was like at that time, that's where, a lot of so-called hippies were, and people who were like living on the streets, but Srila Prabhupada was so kind that even when I first went to the temple, it felt like being in the spiritual sky. You did not feel like you were in the Bowery at all. It was just amazing. And then it was a storefront, a small storefront, and
Maybe about this little bigger than this size right here, right?
yeah. It was narrow, narrow and long, and then you would go through the courtyard and go upstairs to Srila Prabhupada's quarters. And I remember going to the temple for the first time. It was just unbelievable. The devotee started preaching to us, and we had a little kirtan, and it was just really, really wonderful. And then we went through the courtyard, up a flight of stairs, and it was Srila Prabhupada's quarters. Srila Prabhupada was just coming back from India, and he was in San Francisco. He landed in San Francisco, and I remember going up there, and it was just unbelievable. It was just amazing, the presence there. You could feel Srila Prabhupada, and there were devotees up there, and it was like a small family. There weren't many devotees. Everyone knew each other in the movement. When I was starting to come to the temple, everyone knew each other. In San Francisco, which each prabhu, what their service was, and so anyway, when we went upstairs, we were personally introduced to all the devotees, like Damodar, Hare Krishna, Rupanuga, Hare Krishna, everyone. We got formally acquainted with everybody, introduced to everybody. It was very sweet, and at that time, it was like, even though it was just starting out, you just felt the spiritual potency. Like at that time, they had big Lord Jagannath deities, you know, this big, and everyone ate in front of him, slept in front of him, cooked in front of him, no clothes.
This was San Francisco, right?
No, this was in New York.
Oh, New York, they had the big judges.
Yeah, up in Prabhupada's quarters.
Okay.
And it was just amazing, you know. And then at that time, the devotees went to the big park called Central Park, and they had something called beans. But the devotees always put out a nice rug, harmonium, kartals, mridanga, incense burning. You know, it was this really wonderful, joyous kirtan. You know, and I remember right before even discovering where the temple was, I was kind of new to New York City because I came from upstate New York, and it was like a totally different place. And at that time, a devotee handed us a card, 26 Second Avenue, and because I was new to New York, I got off the subway and went on 26th Street. And I was asking people, where's the Hare Krishna temple? You know, unknowingly I was telling them about Krishna, or, you know, they heard Krishna's name, and they looked at me as if I was crazy, you know. So, but we were so disappointed. We really wanted to, this right before going to the temple. And then finally, I don't know how we found out it was
Maybe
on.
you showed some on the card and said, oh, Avenue, you were on the
Yeah,
street.
yeah, then that occurred to us, Second Avenue. And right when we got off the subway, it took me like to take 3 subways to get to the temple. So I went to the temple, and then it was not until 8 months later I got to see Srila Prabhupada, you know. But at that time, it was so young, the movement, I didn't know the protocol. I just wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada saying I really wanted to be initiated. And he was in San Francisco at that time. And I got initiated. You know, there was a big fire sacrifice in San Francisco. We were in New York. I was underage. I was 16. But I didn't know the protocol that you had to go through the temple president. And Brahmananda Prabhu was the president, and he was a wonderful president, but I just didn't think of it. You know, I really wanted to be initiated. I was following the 4 regulated principles, and then when I came to the temple one evening, he got me off to the corner and he said, "Do you know what it means to be initiated? It's a lifelong commitment." And I'm like, "Are you following the principles?" And I went, "Yes, Prabhu." You know, it's like, but Prabhupada was so kind, and he actually, at the initiation ceremony in San Francisco, there was a number of us wanting to get initiated from New York, and there were 5 of us, and we had very unusual Western names. And Srila Prabhupada asked, "Are these boys or girls' names?" You know. So, and then he initiated us like that, and yeah, and it's so well known. Most people think before meeting Srila Prabhupada, you think he's 8 feet tall just because of his presence. You know, I mean, he commanded such a presence and humility and beauty at the same time. And so when we went to meet him at the airport, we set out a rug, kartals, mridanga, flowers, incense. In those days, there was no TSA, you know, security. We could just go right to where the plane, you know, had everyone leave the plane. And it was just amazing, you know, to see Srila Prabhupada come out. It was so radiant and beautiful, and so it was just really his compassion on all of us, you know, and every devotee felt like, oh, that he's looking in my direction, you know what I mean? You always got that feeling, but you know, we can feel Srila Prabhupada through his books, like now, you know. He's always with us, you know, through his books, the devotees, you know, just us congregating together, chanting and sharing Krishna consciousness and, taking care of, like, Prabhupada was very caring, I just heard a story recently by my god sister Malati, Prabhu. She was saying that she was serving Srila Prabhupada, in London, England, and also India. But one time they were making a feast for Srimati Radharani, and someone made a big wok of Radha red, plum chutney, and because that's like Srimati Radharani's favorite. And her daughter was like 1, 2, 3, I don't know how old she was, toddler. Somehow or other, she bumped into the wok or fell into it, and it was hot. It was like chutney, and it was terrible. I mean, Malati started off saying, this is an interesting pastime of Prabhupada. So all the devotees were saying, oh, we can't offer this, but the girl had to go to the hospital, because she had burns. But when Srila Prabhupada heard about it, he said, what happened to Saraswati? Is she all right? Is she getting attention, medical attention? I mean, he was so compassionate, and he's shown that so many different times, so he's like 100% pure devotee, but at the same time, he showed care, amongst all the devotees like that. Anyway.
I have a picture here of Master Bala, the famous Boston Kirtan picture.
Oh, yeah, in the Boston
But you
Common.
in 68?
Yeah, that was 68.
In
Oh,
Boston?
no. You know what? It was after I got married, 69. That,
Okay,
if it's this one.
Madhusudan's in the picture.
Yes, that's around 70, 69.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, we don't have a projector here, but.
Is that in the
maybe-
front?
She's right here. This is Kanchi Bala.
Oh,
Is it? Almost 60 years ago.
amazing.
Maybe
Yeah.
take it around so they can see.
And
Yeah.
like, at that
She's
time,
not the-
there wasn't much money in the movement, so we were very, it was a lot poverty.
I'll come to you.
But
Just
I
stay at
tell
a
you,
place.
the highlight was
Yeah.
Harinam.
Prabhu,
That,
she comes to
I mean,
your
we
place,
all
okay, just
piled
stay
into the
there.
van. There were no seats, like no car seats.
Yeah.
And we all sat on the floor,
Can you identify her?
brahmacharis, householders,
This one.
brahmacharinis, and we just piled in, and we
She's the
got
one.
let out of the van, and we just
Wait,
got
Yeah,
together.
this was
I guess, yeah,
this
this
was
is-
in 1969.
Yes.
Yeah.
70, the latest 70, because that's when the press was there.
Yeah.
And then
She's 68. Yeah.
major changing bodies. That's
So you were just married Madhus?
yeah, we were married like a year.
Okay.
Year,
She's
something.
in there. Madhusudan's in that too. Yeah, he's in. That's Madhus right there.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I can
Madhus.
see. Yeah.
At that time, Boston was the biggest temple in the movement.
Really?
We were like,
Because of-
but
because
then
of
New
press.
York, Brooklyn
Yeah.
became big because everyone moved down.
Yes,
from-
yes.
That was nice. It was great moving.
So I was lucky to meet her and her husband when I joined in Brooklyn in '73. I think you were there at the time.
Yeah.
Madhus was on the press, right?
Yes, yeah.
And there were so many famous exalted devotees there at
Oh,
the time.
did you work on the press? Is that your
Not
first?
immediately.
Yeah.
Later, I started, and maybe October '73. Yeah, working. I remember the first thing I proofread was the pastime of Hiranyaksha,
Oh,
and Hiranyaksha and
Vara.
Vara. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the latter part of the third canto, and then the teachings of Kapila Dev. There was one volume. Remember, we used to have 4 volumes in the third canto. This is how it covers. It's about 400 pages.
Okay.
And that was the only book I took to India. I was so absorbed in that incredible teachings of Kapila Dev. And that was quite an experience. That was '75. I got to go to India. The opening of
Opening of Krishna
we were
Balaram.
so fortunate. The press devotees and the Sankirtan devotees got to go.
I know. I remember
1975.
Hansa came to Brooklyn and he took us all upstairs. I don't know if you were in that meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, because there was all this trouble with Bali, and the weekend. And then I didn't, we couldn't dream it. You know, he said, "How would you all like to go to India for the opening of the Krishna Balam temple?" Nobody said no. I'd never been out of the country before, you know. And it was quite an experience. It was good. And I got my Brahmin initiation from Prabhupada there in Vrindavan. That was the only time I met him personally. The other time I joined so many devotees. But that was I remember. Anyway, I got to get back to work.
Thank you,
actually
Prabhu.
working on my This is so fortunate to see a country holiday. This is somehow Krishna's arrangement.
What an amazing. I came
Yeah, this
to-
is something new. You know, this is like a new. This is they're at summer camp.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak something for the kids? Also, Mata is a very great artist. She paints the deity's eyes and eyebrows, and Krishna shoots the arrows through her painting of the
Dritti's
eyebrows.
coming.
Who is?
I think Dritti's coming.
Yes, to paint the devotees.
Yeah.
Dritti's going to be. She's a legendary painter.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite painters.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know that you all are aware. You may have looked if you look up or you join. You know, you walk into the temple. There's a Garuda there, beautiful Garuda.
Yeah.
It wasn't carved by Kanchan Bala, but she designed the whole thing. And then it was carved from someone else. She's actually a very nice artist. You go to her home, every part of the wall has got little paintings on it. She's done over there. Still painting, right?
It's a spiritual world.
We're so fortunate to have her in the community.
Yes.
I'm fortunate to have you. And
Thank
all
you.
of
You like to speak something else to the kids, Mataji, or anything?
Yeah, this is what we were studying in the class. This is the third time. I've been third days. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, yeah.
They're getting benefit.
They memorize some of it. They enjoy
Really?
it. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. That's great.
Oh, and I have to go. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm in the middle of the marathon.
Okay.
Always am.
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll do it again sometime. Everybody be a year older or 6 months older.
Thank
And
you.
this boy's name is Veda. After this is all over, we're going to get one of these big pieces. You're going to sit in and give a class.
Hey, Prabhu, all the kids want a picture with the teacher, with the poetry.
Oh, okay.
So maybe both of you can sit. You also
Yeah,
sit.
you can just
Prabhu,
sit,
you can
Mataji.
sit here. Kids can sit here.
Now. Yeah.
You can probably sit here, or how should we do it?
Oh, that's okay.
So maybe you can
That's
stand.
good.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll be in the
Okay.
back because we're shorter. I mean taller.
Okay,
Oh,
all
okay,
the
because
taller kids go
Every
back.
time
Go
I
back.
see him, he's another inch taller. He's going to be about 8 feet tall by the time he's here.
Okay, go. To Prabhuji.
Okay.
Veda is here.
Yes.
Prita, go.
Only